Welcome back to J-Abdul Sports. And today I just want to talk about a couple things. We're going to get into some betting odds and check on who's the favorites, underdogs, best picks. But first I want to talk about the Bulls and the Bucks game last night. It was a little scuffle at the end of the game. The Bucks won the game, but it was a little scuffle at the end of the game because of Giannis. The game is over with, and he decides he wants to dunk the ball at the end of the game to make the score a little wider than what it was. And I'm just going to give my opinion on it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it at all. And I don't have a problem with how the Bulls responded or reacted to it. I think, it's hard to tell a player not to play, not to play hard, not to play to the end of the whistle. Everybody taught to play through the whistle, end of the whistle. And yes, it is a little bush league, especially coming from a guy like Giannis, a top 5 player in the league. You would expect a little more from somebody like that. But I couldn't see like Jordan or somebody doing that, or like Kobe or LeBron or somebody like that, doing that. But at the same time, the Bulls play better. You know what I'm saying? Play better. And I love it. It's a little different than who was that? Who was that tried to get his triple double? Was that, I think, Ricky Davis? It's different than Ricky. I think it was Ricky Davis. Tried to get a triple double at the end of the game, so he missed the shot on purpose so he can get a rebound. That's just ridiculous. Ricky Davis was ridiculous anyway. He was like J.R. Smith before J.R. Smith. He was just doing ridiculous stuff. But yeah, that's different than that, But I love it. I love that the Bulls and the Bucks don't like each other. They're not supposed to like each other. It kind of reminds me of the days where I grew up. Back in the early yeah, back in them days. The Bulls and the Pistons and the Bucks and the Cavs. They all battled it out in that Central Division. The Hawks was in there too before they moved the Hawks out the division. But so I love it. Indiana too, but I don't think Indiana was all that great back then. But Indiana was good in the '90s. With they had battles with Chicago, so I'm happy to see the Central Division. And then we ain't go even talk about the early 2000s with Indiana and Detroit. They battled it out big time. And then Cleveland came along when they had LeBron. So I'm happy to see the Central Division back to how it used to be. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care for Milwaukee or Chicago. I'm a Detroit fan, so I don't care for neither one of y'all. But I'm happy that is rivalries in sports, because the way they move in divisions around and getting rid of divisions, and it's killing rivalries. And I stated in another video that OKC and San Antonio need to be in the same division. Like, what are we doing? Rivalries is what makes sports. It's a huge part of sports. And they killing off rivalries with the way that they referee games, with the way that they don't allow players to play, and also with realignment and everything like that. Like, they really killed it in college football. It's like no rivalries anymore, They didn't kill the way the Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-12, no more Oklahoma, Nebraska. I grew up on watching Oklahoma play Nebraska the day after Thanksgiving. No more of that. Now you got Nebraska. Who did they play? I think they play Iowa. They did play Colorado for it. It used to be Nebraska, Colorado for a minute. and then it turned into Nebraska, Iowa. But it used to be Nebraska, Oklahoma. That was one of the biggest rivalries in college football. And now you don't even get that anymore. And then we're not going to even talk about college basketball. They just killed the Big East. I'm used to Syracuse playing Georgetown and St. John and all those teams. And now it's just like, I don't even know who in the Big East anymore. I think they got like Creighton in the Big East or something like that. It's just crazy. And the Big Ten and the Pac-12 is combined. So now you got USC and UCLA in the Big Ten, and it's just crazy now. They just killed off all these rivalries. It's all a big money thing now. But I didn't get off subject. But let's get into the odds for today's game. Let's check out the odds for today's game. So today we got. See what we got here. We got Philly playing OKC. You got Golden State and Toronto at 3:30. You got Boston and Portland at 6 p.m. I'm guessing all these is Eastern times. Memphis playing Washington at 6 p.m. You got the Pistons and the Clippers at 9. And you got the Lakers and Sacramento at 9:30. So I'm not sure if anybody's been paying attention, but underdogs have been winning these last couple days. Underdogs have been coming up big since Friday. And is it going to continue today? I don't think so. I think it's time for them to flip the script a little bit. I think that they think that people are going to ride the underdogs now since they've been winning the last couple of days. And I think that most of these favorites are going to come out on top today, in my opinion. The first game we got is Philadelphia OKC. The over-under is 225.5. Well, I guess it depends. You got BetMGM has that 226.5. DraftKings has that 226.5. And Caesars has that 226. So we'll just say 226. The over-under is 226. I think Philly will cover. As much as I'm talking about the favorite's going to win, I think Philly will cover. And I will go with the over on this one. Over the 226. And then we got Golden State and Toronto. You got Golden State favored by 3. What is that about? You got Golden State favored by 3. That sounds like a setup to me. Or they just not trusting Toronto. Toronto did lose. They just lost to somebody that they weren't supposed to lose to the other day. And now they're at home against Golden State. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so Toronto lost to Washington the other night, which is one of those underdog games I was talking about. See, this is one they want you to take the underdog on. They want you to take Toronto. They trying to bait you into taking Toronto and the points. But I'm going to go with, like I said, I think this is a turnaround day. So I'm going to go with Golden State and the points and the over. The over is also 225.5. I'm going with Golden State and the over. I think they're trying to bait you in picking Toronto. And then you got Boston and Portland. I'm going to take Boston and the points on this one as well. And the 229, I'm going with the over on that too. The over is 229.5. And I'm going with Boston minus the 6. And the over the 229.5. The next game is Memphis and Washington. Also going to take Memphis and the points on this one. Now all these can't be. The favorite's not going to win every game tonight. I did say Philly would cover, so I think Philly would cover, and Memphis is going to cover, but I'm going to go with the under on the points. Even though Washington scores a lot of points for some reason. I'm going to go with the under, but I'm going to go with Memphis covering. The Clippers and the Pistons is a game I'll probably stay away from. But gun to my head, I would probably go with Detroit minus the 4, and I would go over and the Pistons to cover. Now, mind you, I just looked at this earlier today, and the Pistons was -2. Now it's -4. So take that however you want to take it, which is why I say I wouldn't even touch this game. And the same with the Lakers in Sacramento. I looked at that game earlier, and it was -15, and now it's -13.5. So it's been moving. The line has been moving. And with the Lakers, I like taking the over with the Lakers because they have a good offense, but it's been sputtering lately. So I don't know. I will take the under on this game. I know everything is telling you to take the over. With Sacramento and LA playing, you would think take the over. I'm going to take the under. And the -13.5, which was -15 a couple hours ago. So I would take the Lakers and the -13.5 and the under. Now, if you haven't been noticing, the reason I'm going with a lot of the favorites is because it's been a lot of underdogs winning lately. If you haven't noticed, let me show you right here. These are Friday's games. So we have Toronto and Washington. Washington was a heavy underdog, and they won outright. Charlotte was an underdog against Orlando, and they won. Boston covered. They was the favorite, and they covered. Miami was an underdog against Atlanta, and they won. Chicago was an underdog against Philly, and they won. Memphis was favored against the Bucks, so they covered. Phoenix covered. Utah was another underdog that won, and the Clippers were a favorite against the Trailblazers. Go figure on that one. Clippers won like 9 games all year, but somehow they was favored on the road against Portland, and they won easily. And that was a trap game right there. It made the Clippers favorite, which would make you want to go with Portland and the points, and the Clippers cover easily, So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 underdogs. It was 9 games, and 5 underdogs won. 5 underdogs won outright. They didn't just cover, they won outright. And that was Friday. Take a look at yesterday. Let's see what happened yesterday. Now the games yesterday, you got Sacramento was an underdog against Dallas. They won outright. Orlando was an underdog against Denver. They won outright. Phoenix covered again. So Phoenix has been covering their spreads. So Phoenix is good to go. Utah again, another heavy underdog again, and they beat San Antonio outright. Same with Brooklyn and Minnesota. Brooklyn blew out Minnesota, And then Miami was favored and they covered. Houston was favored and they covered. Milwaukee was an underdog against Chicago, even though they knew Giannis was playing. And Milwaukee was still an underdog. So maybe they wasn't for sure if Giannis was playing, but they said before the game that Giannis was playing. But that's another underdog. And the Hawks was an underdog, and they didn't win, but they covered their spread. It was a 6-point spread, and they only lost by 3. So you had 5 underdogs on Friday, and then Saturday you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6 underdogs on Saturday that at least covered. And so now we're going to Sunday. you get everybody think, oh, we're going with the underdogs. And that's when they're going to flip it around on you, you know. So I'll stay away from the underdogs today. But that's just my opinion. You know, let me know what you think down in the comments. Always like, comment, and subscribe. This is J-Abdul Sports, and I'm out.
So this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing, all right? That's going to be the mentality.